Welcome, my political friends of the interwebs, and welcome to another episode of Bench Talk. Real quickly, my last video had some interesting replies about what else happened in 1935 that basically affects politics today. One person so far is heading in the same direction as me. I think either tomorrow or the next day I will put up a follow-up video to that video. And I think you'll understand then exactly what I was getting at as far as the year 1935 and its significance today. This video is going to be a little bit different. It's a bench talk video, but I want to talk to you about a fellow YouTuber named Stephen Hayes UK. You will find a few of his videos in my favorites section, and I encourage all of you to go check out his videos. Stephen is doing some political vlogs now. And I welcome it. It's real fascinating to listen to some of the things he has to say. But I want to give you some background on Stephen. A couple of years ago, I decided to plant an apple orchard, or at least start an apple orchard on my property in Kentucky. And of course, I knew nothing about it. It never stopped me before. But you know, through the power of YouTube, I decided to do some research, and I ran across a guy from England who had an apple orchard. It was he considers it a small orchard, but to me it's gigantic. I thought this guy was a really fascinating guy. He knew so much about apple trees, and I learned a lot about apple trees from him, how to prune apple trees, this, that. Now, you're going to say, what's this got to do with politics? Well, I'm going to get there. At some point, people started talking about healthcare in the United States and talking about the healthcare in Canada and talking about the healthcare in England, National Health Service in England. And then one day I pop on and there's a new video from Stephen Hayes. This man is just fascinating. He's in a different setting because every other video I'd ever seen of him was in his orchard. But this time he was in a lab coat in an office setting. And he was talking about, healthcare in England and the pros and the cons. And he mentioned healthcare in France and in Germany. It was really fascinating. Turns out that the man that I thought was a humble apple orchard keeper was a doctor. He's a physician. I've actually got two physicians that subscribe to me on YouTube, and which is fascinating. Anyway. Another thing, he's a fantastic blues guitar player. But anyway, he is now doing videos about politics in England, which is really fascinating because, I think a lot of us Americans, we think the world evolves around us, and for the most part, we're right. It does. But I think it would behoove all of us to understand a little bit more about politics from other countries. So I encourage all of you, all of my political fans, to go to my favorite section on my Voodoo Politics channel and check Stephen Hayes out. He's a really, really interesting guy. And check out some of his apple orchard stuff and some of his blues guitar playing stuff. It's worth checking out too. But he is, I'll tell you, he's on a very short list of mine of people on YouTube that I just find fascinating, and I love that about him. Anyway, how do I put this? Out of respect for him or in his honor, I have decided to drink a little apple cider. This is cider with a kick. Stephen, by the way, actually makes cider in his orchard. And or from the apples from his orchard. He actually has a section of apples that he calls his cider apples. Now, I do enjoy a little cider from time to time. To be honest with you, I rarely ever drink it hard. This is what we call hard cider in the United States. They usually refer to this as cider in England. It's 5% alcohol by volume. It's a 12-ounce bottle. It's England's dry cider imported. So this is in honor of you, Stephen. May you live a long and healthy life and produce lots and lots of apples. One more thing about Stephen is he seems to have made it his mission in life to preserve some of the older apple varieties in England that aren't commercially grown anymore. And I think that's one of the most important things anybody can do is is to save things like that. I mean, he grows apples that aren't traditionally grown anymore. Apples that were very popular maybe a couple hundred years ago. But anyway, I won't keep going on about Stephen. Stephen, this is for you. Keep up the great work. Love your videos. Let me give this a swig and I'll tell everybody what you think. Well, first I'm going to say, you know, it smells pretty good. Oh, that's fabulous. And by the way, if you could go back in time to the Tun Tavern and see our forefathers, they would be drinking hard cider. Our first alcoholic beverages in the United States was just that. We weren't real whiskey or beer drinkers till much later. But anyway, everybody, cheers and take care.